With just over 2 weeks until the election, President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden are making their final pushes in crucial battleground states. The president is holding events in both Michigan and Wisconsin tonight. Local officials have called on the Trump campaign to cancel the rallies. Wisconsin is currently one of the hardest hit states from the pandemic, recording record-breaking numbers of new cases. The Trump campaign responded, quote, "We take strong precautions for our campaign events. Every attendee has their temperature checked, is provided a mask they're instructed to wear, and has access to plenty of hand sanitizer. We also have signs at our events instructing attendees to wear their masks." Our Nicole Killian is following the latest from the campaign trail as the country deals with a surge of coronavirus cases.
President Trump returned to the White House after a rally doubleheader in Georgia.
We're winning in Florida. We're winning here.
And Florida, where he brought up aide Hope Hicks, who contracted the coronavirus nearly 2 weeks ago, right before he did.
We can share a microphone now.
At each stop, the president went after Democratic rival Joe Biden, making dubious claims and egging on supporters who put a new spin on an old chant.
That Biden family is corrupt. It's a corrupt family. I'll tell you something, though. It's fair. Lock them up. You shouldn't lock them up. Lock up the Bidens.
The president resurrected a New York Post story that stirred controversy this week. The paper published what it claimed were emails allegedly taken from a laptop belonging to Biden's son Hunter. CBS News has learned the FBI is now looking into whether the information found on the laptop may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
And unfortunately, it sounds like he left his laptop behind. Don't they have thousands?
The former vice president dismissed the reports when pressed by CBS News.
I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. It's right up your alley. They're the questions you always ask.
It followed a day of back-to-back events in Michigan.
What the hell's the matter with this guy?
From a Detroit drive-in to a socially distanced stump in Southfield, Biden slammed the president's pandemic response and his mostly maskless mass rallies.
How many times on television do you see make fun of Biden wearing a mask? Because he refuses to practice social distancing. He puts his supporters in such jeopardy.
The Biden campaign also announced former President Barack Obama will hit the trail next week in Philadelphia. He readied his pitch at a Senate fundraiser Friday night.
People used to call me no drama Obama. Well, it's true. I tend to be pretty steady. You know, I don't engage in a lot of hyperbole. But this one really is the most important election that I can think of.
For more on this, I want to bring in Sean Sullivan. He's a CBSN political contributor and national politics reporter at The Washington Post. Sean, good to see you. The Trump campaign is pushing forward with its Wisconsin and Michigan rallies this weekend, despite those health officials advising against it. Talk to us about the messaging behind coronavirus that we expect to see from the Trump campaign.
Well, you know, when you look at the way that these two candidates have navigated the pandemic, they've been very different across the board, not just in policy prescriptions, but also in the way that they campaign. And we're seeing it play out, yesterday and today. You have President Trump, who is out there, who is planning to hold these big events, even as these experts are warning against this. And, I think his goal is to project strength as somebody who could say, look, I contracted this illness. I am back now, and I'm out on the campaign trail. But on the other side, you have Vice President Biden, who is raising serious concerns about the way that the president has conducted himself in the last couple of weeks. He's raised concerns about, Trump's rallies, also the fact that Trump does not adhere to the advice of experts to wear face masks all the time. And you see Joe Biden wearing those face masks pretty much everywhere he goes. And Biden's out in the campaign trail, too. It's not like he's not doing anything, but his events are smaller scale events. He was in Michigan yesterday, also campaigning in the upper Midwest, but he held, a drive-in car rally where people stayed in their vehicles, and he's typically held smaller scale events. So you see this contrast between Biden and Trump. But I think what Trump wants to project is that he's out there that he is somebody who is strong. He is somebody who is meeting this moment. Of course, when you look at public polling, there's a lot of Americans who roundly disagree with him, roundly disagree with his handling of the pandemic, and are really, really angry with his behavior.
Well, and all signs are pointing to another wave of cases already getting started. Any chance that the Trump campaign will adjust not only their messaging to that, but also their actions?
We will see. That is a good question for the final 2 weeks of this race. So far, we have not really seen any deviation right now. And there are concerns, particularly in the upper Midwest, as we see this spike in cases. This is alarming to a lot of public health officials, also alarming to a lot of residents. I was talking to a local Democratic official in Wisconsin who expressed a lot of concern about this. So this is something that both campaigns, both the Biden and Trump campaign, are going to have to watch in the next couple of weeks because they want to be out there on the campaign trail. But the question is, what's safe and what isn't. And right now, when you look at what President Trump is doing, a lot of health experts are saying, look, this is not safe. But this is part of a larger pattern that we have seen throughout this year, where the president has continued to hold these large rallies where you're not in a situation where everybody's socially distant, where you don't see everybody wearing masks. So far, we're not seeing any indication of change, but we'll see in the final couple of weeks. And, these two things are converging right now. This spike in cases is happening in the very states that Joe Biden and President Trump are really doing battle with each other. And both sides see those states, Michigan, Wisconsin, as really key to victory on November 3rd.
Well, as you mentioned, the Biden campaign is also out there on the trail, and they had their own coronavirus scare this week. Someone who flew with Joe Biden tested positive. 2 of Kamala Harris's staffers tested positive, forcing her to suspend travel. How has the Biden-Harris campaign been responding to this?
Well, in a couple of ways. On the one hand, they're trying to project caution and show that they are not taking any chances here. They released a statement, just hours after they received this information in the case of Senator Harris. There were these 2 individuals that were in close proximity to her. She's tested negative, but as an extra precaution, the campaign is saying, look, we're still keeping her off the campaign trail through the weekend. This is an added layer of protection. When it comes to Vice President Biden, the campaign said he was not in close enough proximity to this individual who tested positive, and he was wearing a mask. They were wearing a mask. So the Biden campaign is not pulling Joe Biden off the campaign trail at all right now, but they are continuing to release these tests that show both Harris and Biden are negative for the virus. And what they're doing sort of politically, too, is they're trying to point to the way that they've handled this and contrast it with the outbreak at the White House, contrast it with the way President Trump and his aides handled the outbreak there. There are still questions to this day about what exactly happened, when the testing happened, what the protocol was. And so Biden is trying to demonstrate to the public, hey, we're doing this in the right way, in the safe way. But the reality is, even though he's taken all these precautions, what this incident shows, what these 2 incidents show, is that even with a lot of these safety protocols in place, you still have the possibility of people in close proximity to these candidates getting infected. And so that's a risk that the Biden campaign is going to have to deal with in the final couple of weeks here.
All right, John, I want to ask you about something that our viewers may have heard about that's gaining a bit of traction. Georgia Senator David Perdue is gaining attention for repeatedly mispronouncing Kamala Harris's name at a Trump rally. Tell us why this has become a bit of an issue.
Well, he's getting a lot of criticism for this. A lot of people have looked at his comments and said, look, this was something that was intentional, that he was trying to mock her. And so you're seeing the criticism grow by the hour here. Senator Amy Klobuchar made a point on social media that these 2 are colleagues. It's not as if Senator Harris is somebody who Senator Perdue doesn't know. They work together in the same building. They're in the same chamber. Holding votes together. And so a lot of people are very disturbed, troubled by what we heard from Senator Perdue. And you're hearing that be expressed today from Senator Klobuchar, others. You're hearing that from the Democrat who's running against Senator Perdue. And this is a battleground race right now. This is a race in Georgia that is looking competitive, that it looks like it's coming down to the wire. But clearly a lot of people very upset by what they see as an intentional effort from Senator Perdue to mispronounce Senator Harris's name in a way that was mocking in their view.
We should also note that in a statement, a spokesperson for the senator said that he simply mispronounced it and didn't mean anything by it. All right, last question for you. Former President Barack Obama will be campaigning for Joe Biden this coming week. He's largely stayed out of the presidential race until this point. Sean, what do you expect we'll see from the 44th president, and what could he bring to Biden's campaign in this late hour?
Well, a couple of things. When you look at today's Democratic Party, Barack Obama is hugely popular among Democrats. There's a lot of people who have fond memories of the Obama administration, of the Obama years. And his presence out on the campaign trail kind of intersects with an argument that Joe Biden has made all along, every step of the way, which is that he was somebody who was very, very close with the 44th president, who worked with him very closely. You know, you see Joe Biden out on the campaign trail. He doesn't call him President Obama. He calls him Barack. He tries to communicate to people that they're close friends, that they were very close. And so I think, you know, what the Biden campaign hopes is this has a couple of effects. One, that it generates enthusiasm among voters who are looking to register to vote right now, who are looking to sort of just tune into the political process. But two, to any swing voters on the fence who might be undecided, to remind them, perhaps some of them, of the Obama years and try to contrast that with what we've seen during the Trump presidency. So it'll be interesting. And what it looks like now is that it looks like Obama is trying to assert himself more. It's true that he has been sort of quiet for the most part. We've seen him emerge here and there, but he was on a podcast interview. He's done some video stuff recently. And so this event in Philadelphia, this first one on the campaign trail that he's going to be doing for Biden, I think is going to be really, really closely watched, and certainly probably will not be the last event that he does for Joe Biden between now and November 3rd.
Okay, Sean Sullivan, thank you.
Thanks.
And don't forget, the CBS News Battleground Tracker has real-time election polling and race ratings for all 50 states. All you need to do is download the free CBS News app or go to cbsnews.com/polls for the very latest.